I remember I was at MegaCon one time and there were two R2s chasing each other, and one of them made that noise, and then ran into a trash can, fell over, and his head rolled off. It was great. So you did see the new Star Wars trailer, right?
I did.
Because the only thing I've seen from it is the BB-8, the new little droid.
That's the coolest thing in the world.
He looks so cool.
You know he's a practical effect.
What?
That's a real thing. That's a practical effect.
Wait, seriously?
That's real.
When they did the
That's super cool.
When
so they have
the
that gyroscope technology in there, like what
when they did the Disney CinemaCon thing, they
And there came a day unlike any other, when the world's two most talkative show hosts came together to take on topics that no single show host could handle alone. On that day, Capes and Co-Hosts was born.
Yeah, you really do look weird doing that. Hello and welcome to Capes and Co-Hosts. Your show where we talk about superheroes and everything related to superheroes.
My show?
No.
Oh.
Your show, as a people's show.
Got it.
Shut your face. I'm just kidding. You're on here to talk. As always, if you're listening to us or watching us, it's probably on 247miami.tv/live or YouTube, as well as we'll be on Tuesdays at 9 for the rerun as well throughout the week. You can also like our page on Facebook, Capes and Co-Hosts, or follow us on Twitter at Capes and Co-Hosts. I'm your host, Garrett Phillips, here with my trusty co-host, Ricky, who's operating the board. If you can't see him, that's why.
Howdy.
See ya.
Have to have a job here and do something important.
Doing everything now.
Everything.
And I am joined with James Squared.
Yes.
James and James.
Hello, all. Yes, as Adrian could not be here because he's contemplating his inevitable replacement by a woman.
Possible.
That's a rumor to Thor, by the way. That's a reference to that.
And it's also true.
Yes. I've actually brought my dad on here. Say hi, Dad.
How you doing, guys? I'm basically here just to take up the seat.
He should have said hi, Dad.
Yeah. So we got representation here from the old school comic book.
Which is good, because today we're going to be talking about Frank Miller.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to tell us about that first Superman run? I'm playing.
And yeah, as always, I'm here from Xavier's League of Extraordinary Avengers Corps Incorporated. Please join our group.
The greatest group.
Like our page.
Best page ever.
Sorry, Adrian.
I'm not sorry.
Anyway,
so let's go ahead and get on to what is the biggest thing that is not necessarily... Well, I guess it is the biggest thing that's happened last week because it happened in foreign territories. Age of Ultron was released.
Yes.
Across seas. And while that doesn't mean that we have it here yet, We will in a matter of days.
$56 million they're at already?
Is it 56 already?
I'm pretty sure.
As of 2 days ago, or not 2 days ago, as of 2 days a release, which was yesterday, it was just under 50. It was 49 point something. If it's at 56 already, awesome.
I think so. I might be wrong, but the point is, it's made a lot of money overseas.
Yeah, I mean, it's only opened in about 26 territories. So, 50 mil in 2 days for 26 territories, none of them being the U.S., is pretty huge.
That
It's
is
chump
huge.
change.
Cannot wait.
Chump change. That is massive.
Yeah, it's already the #1 movie in every territory it has released, and it's breaking most of their records as well as far as opening day or opening weekend. Or
This is going to be madness.
If there is a movie that has come out in the last 10 years that gets close to breaking the Titanic record, or is it Avatar's up there now?
Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
One of those two.
It is
If,
Avatar,
if any movie's going to take over those two, I think Age of Ultron has a chance.
Well, and I was telling you this outside. This movie is going to push Stan Lee over Steven Spielberg as the highest grossing domestic producer, which is
Even
insane.
though he doesn't make that lot of money out of them. I'm assuming that's off of...
No, he does, dude. He's executive producer on a lot of these movies.
Yeah, but executive producer doesn't really do much.
They put in money to make money. They make a percentage of total gross.
I'll have to look that up because I remember seeing a few...
Bruckheimer has to be
a
up there
year or
too,
two
I imagine.
ago.
Yeah.
I remember seeing a year or two ago about Stanley talking about how he doesn't make almost any money off of these movies, that it's mostly just a executive producer credit because of him being a creator.
Oh, well, somehow he's managed to push himself. He's
I'm
about to-
assuming, I mean, when you told me that, I would assumed that it was the producers whose movies have grossed that much, not necessarily that they have done it
No. As a
themselves.
producer, he is going to surpass Steven Spielberg.
All right.
I mean, think about how many Marvel properties have there been in the film now? Like 25, maybe?
Something like that.
No,
Well,
more than that, probably.
More than that, you think?
I mean, there's
Sheer
a
volume.
there's 11 just in the MCU alone. That's
Right.
not including all the
the
five
Spider-Man
Spider-Mans,
and the X-Men
all the X-Men's, all of the Fantastic Four,
and the Fantastic
X-Men.
Four
Plus-
from the 90s.
plus the Blades, the Punishers,
We don't talk about that.
the Daredevil, the Ghost Riders.
there's a lot, yeah.
There's a huge number.
Ghost Rider.
So even if you make
There's
50
two of
cents a piece out of them,
It's still a lot of money, yeah.
50 cents a piece on those movies.
Yeah.
Oh man. So yeah, Age of Ultron's already opening great. Critics have been reviewing. It's kind of mixed almost. A little
Yeah, but wasn't Avengers 1 mixed also?
bit. No, Avengers
Amongst
1 was
critics?
pretty positive.
Mhm.
There was the occasional critic that kind of downed on it, but this one seems to be catching a little more flack, mostly because of the idea that it's too many hands in the pie type of thing,
Right.
in a sense. Having basically 9 Avengers plus your main villain plus all the supporting cast.
If you divided any number by how much I care about what the critics think,
It would always end up
it
at,
would not work because you can't divide by 0.
No, I mean, there's still a stigma on comic book movies and superhero movies.
Yeah,
that is
so,
true too.
You know, gotta take it with a grain of salt.
Exactly.
We
Which
gotta see
is-
what comic book fans think of the movie.
And to be fair, at the
Mhm.
end of the day, you know how much Marvel cares about the critics as compared to how much they care about how much money
Boom!
it makes.
Yeah.
$2 billion worth.
Yeah, if this movie
Goose egg.
makes just as much as the last movie, they're not going to care how bad the critics didn't like it.
Not even a little bit.
And who was the director of Birdman or Nightcrawler? That was
Birdman.
Yeah, I mean, his movies they probably already outgrossed the Birdman. Age of
Oh no,
Ultron.
yes,
Oh,
for
definitely.
sure.
I mean, that's how it's a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But that's part of what his message was, that people, the mindless masses will go watch whatever.
which is fine. I mean, hey, you know what? I am totally fine to be a mindless
I
mass
agree.
as long as I get to see more Marvel
Exactly.
movies.
As long
right.
as I'm entertained, you
Bring them on.
put whatever label you want on it.
Exactly.
So yeah, Age of Ultron has started out strong. A lot of controversy on the press tours, though.
Yeah,
I think you wanted to talk about.
I do. Well,
Basically, to start the whole thing.
actually, let's start with yours because that was really interesting. I hadn't heard.
Yeah,
about
the first thing I think that really happened was Robert Downey Jr. walking out on an interview with BBC.
that. Mhm.
The reporter, I don't know his name. I'll try and look it up here in a minute, but
I'm on it.
you're on it. All right, Ricky's got it. The reporter basically went into the interview with Robert Downey Jr., which is a press tour. It's meant to promote the movie,
Right.
and he kind of basically heckled Robert Downey Jr. about his past, about his addictions, all of that other stuff. Didn't really, even really ask about the movie at all.
Yeah.
And Robert eventually was kind of like, we're promoting a movie, and eventually just got up and left. He was fed up with it. So that started off a string of
So yeah, he was there to bait him for a headline.
pretty much,
Exactly.
and that started off a string of bad press, I guess, for this press tour with the Jeremy Renner and Chris Evans calling Black
I believe
Widow.
I believe we have a name.
Yes,
We
the
do.
interviewer's name is Krishnan Guru Murthy.
Wow. How did you not go with a name like that? How did you not expect him to be a D-bag? I'm just saying.
How'd you not remember that, Garrett?
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure he did the same thing to a movie recently. I don't know if you can find it right there, but
Yeah,
he's
that
done it before.
Doesn't sound like he's
I'm
a
on it.
household name in his own household.
Yeah, right?
But so that started off the string. It went to
It was an interview with Jeremy Renner and Chris Evans where they were asked what they think about the fact that how flirtatious Black Widow seems to be with Hawkeye in Avengers, with Captain America in Avengers. No, Captain America in Winter Soldier, and now with Bruce Banner in Age of Ultron. And Jeremy's response was, "She's a slut."
Looks like it was Quentin Tarantino on Django Unchained.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
I did hear about that.
Yep.
That's right. And Quentin Tarantino, he's got a short fuse as it is.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he takes a lot of shit.
I feel like he's gonna, go all Kill Bill on the guy.
Yeah, right. But yeah, so Jeremy responded with, "She's a slut," and then they both laughed about it. Him and Chris Evans. Chris was like, "I was going to say something similar," and
I was
this
gonna say
just
she's a whore is what he said.
exploded. It exploded on
Because feminists can't take a joke.
these guys should be more tactful, blah blah, blah, while completely missing the point that he was making a joke as a bitter Hawkeye instead of actually saying that a fictional character. It's important there. Fictional character is a slut, but I did also hear something that does have a valid point to it, is that even though they are grown men and it's an adult interview, it's also a movie that is
For
marketed
kids, yeah.
largely to kids.
Right.
So kids might be looking for stuff like this. They might be looking up and they see an interview with, it's Hawkeye
Daddy,
and
what's a
Captain
slut?
America. So they should have kept
Why
that
is
in mind.
Hawkeye calling Black Widow a slut?
Yeah,
Dad?
exactly.
Ooh.
So that I
That's a tough
understand,
question.
and that's a valid point, and that's a really easy apology to make. It's that you're right. I should have considered the age of my audience better, but I don't think either one should apologize for making the joke.
You
I'm
think it
pretty
was
sure they
just
already
a-
did
You don't
apologize
think it
for
was
it.
just
I know.
blatantly misogynistic?
No,
just
it
a
wasn't.
joke.
It was a
It
joke.
might have been inappropriate, but it wasn't misogynistic.
Exactly.
There you go.
I, for one, appreciate that quality in her. It facilitates my own fantasies.
There we go. Thanks, Dad. But yeah, it's true. I mean,
Amazing.
yeah, but I
Oh,
mean,
God.
it's getting to a point where just the PC of everything is actually starting to negatively affect my enjoyment of it.
And then most recently, speaking about PC, Robert Downey Jr. had another interview where he made
right.
I think it was a Mexican filmmaker or something like that, of Mexican descent or whatever.
Right.
And the Robert Downey Jr. said something along the lines of, Ricky's going to pull it up right here. He's got it.
I am.
Yeah.
Okay.
And something about the idea of, for a guy whose language or first language isn't English or something along those lines,
Right.
using those words is impressive or something like that. And I was like, everyone got in thinking that's racist. And
People went ahead and twisted that into, he's trying to say that Mexicans don't have a large vocabulary. What he was really saying was it's impressive that someone who has English as a second language has a large vocabulary in English. Is what he was trying to say, seems to me anyway.
All right, here it goes. Look, I respect the heck out of him. I think for a man whose native tongue is Spanish to be able to put together a phrase like cultural
Negative
genocide.
tongue?
Native
Native
tongue.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
there it is.
That I thought I corrected myself. All
I'm
right,
sorry.
native tongue is Spanish to be able to put together a phrase like cultural genocide just speaks to how bright he is.
Okay.
So,
And
I mean,
That's-
if anything, though, I mean, speaking two languages myself, it is very hard to put together things in the other language sometimes, So,
Yeah, and
I mean,
of course,
it could be a
everyone-
compliment.
I agree.
'Cause, I mean,
I think that's how he
I
intended
think
it to an extent.
That's how it was meant.
But no, of course, social justice warriors are going to go ahead and just jump on whatever, anything anyone says.
exactly.
Which Frank Cho, the comic book artist, has been on a non-stop fight against this. I don't know if you've seen it, but he's done 3 versions of the Milo Manara Spider-Woman cover.
Oh yeah, I know what
He
you're
did
talking about.
he did one with Harley Quinn and Joker. He did one with Spider-Gwen, and the most recent one he did was it was Wonder Woman in that same pose, and then Batman is over the edge of the building going, "What are you doing?" She's like, "I'm trying to sell comics." And he's just nonstop, does not care, which I think is awesome.
Which is awesome. Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But again, don't get me wrong. I'm all for comics being a little more aware of things. A perfect example, I actually told me that about this weekend.
Mhm.
In the current X-Men comics, they have a young team of X-Men currently there.
Are we going the Iceman thing here?
Yeah.
We're doing Iceman? Okay.
They have a young team of X-Men, like it's a time displaced version of their youth.
All new X-Men.
And then Iceman made some, hey, she's
hot.
hot comment
Yeah.
about magic. And then young Jean Grey was like, why? This is young Bobby Drake and young Jean Grey. She's like, why do you do that? He goes, do what? Make those comments when what? What?
Gay.
Bobby, you're gay. And then like there's this whole, so basically they're making young Iceman gay, and he makes a comment is, I don't understand how I could be and older me isn't. So there's a big thing that that they think that it's going to come down to him confronting his older self about that, to see if we actually get the older one to come out of the closet as well. So don't get me wrong, to an extent, me and him had this discussion about whether it should just be introducing new gay characters, or what's the issue with turning these changing other characters. But I understand just being more open and aware of everything, but this is too much. Not being able to print a cover because it triggers, because it triggers people to think about back when Batgirl was raped by the Joker. Come on.
Look,
Yeah.
I'm all for social advancement, and that there are issues that need to be addressed and all that. But being a classic comic book fan, I do have a problem with trying to reinvent characters and that obviously work the way they are.
Yeah. I mean, I don't actually mind Bobby being gay, mostly because Family Guy called it like years ago.
Yes,
so that
they
was
did.
funny.
It's true.
No, but I don't mind him being gay, basically because, and I think James made a point to this in the discussion that we had with that Facebook group, Xavier's, about how new characters
Right.
don't normally take as well as older characters. And
It's
that's
true.
the reason why we've never been able to get past Steven Rogers as Captain America
Exactly.
and all these other different things. So making a current character that's already beloved gay to kind of push that idea that diversity is a thing, I'm okay with.
And as long as the character we're doing that doesn't
Change
really
the character.
change too much. Like,
Right.
and it's what I also said this in the group, is that all of these characters were written when you either had to be a sexy woman or a white male. You get me?
Exactly.
Meanwhile, if these characters were written today, some of them would be written as gay or whatever, pansexual or whatever they want to be.
Exactly.
So do you have to consider that too? It's kind of them trying to, I
Mistake
guess,
for the fact, or not mistake, correct the
Yeah,
fact that
correct
they couldn't
exactly.
do it originally.
Yeah, because
the ignorance of the time period.
yeah, gay people
But
buy
there
comic
needs to-
books too, and everything.
Yeah, but there needs to be a balance. Is the point?
Right.
That's what's important. Is
Yeah,
a
because on
balance.
reflection, when I look back at it, I said they're really not reinventing Bobby. They're just bringing out an aspect that's never been approached
Exactly.
before.
Exactly. And I mean, it makes sense in a sense that you have a Bobby Drake that could have maybe even been just not sure of himself at the
Right.
time when he was younger, and then grew up in the time that he grew up thinking, no, I can't be that way. And
Right.
Yeah,
that's why
professing
he's
Look, for
That's
example,
so-
if they tried to make Peter Parker gay, that's a problem only because his relationships have been such an important part of his comic. You get
Right.
me?
exactly.
Yeah, it's
But
part of
with
his
Bobby
story.
Drake, it never has. And in fact, all of his relationships have kind of felt distant and failed.
Kind of explains his attraction to what's her name? Streak.
Rogue.
Yeah.
Are you saying Rogue is a man?
no, but they can't touch anyway. So
Oh,
So he's not grossed
there you
out
go.
by that
She's
idea.
like, she's like his beard.
His beard.
I got it. I like it.
Oh, that's great.
Oh God.
But anyway,
That's a really good cop out for him too. It's like, oh, I love Rogue. I just can't touch her.
yeah, right.
I like it.
Great way to
A great way to have a cover, I guess.
But anyway, but yeah, so that's there has been just in general in the comic book industry, I'd say in the past year, there's just been a lot of dust being like
Rustled.
rustled.
Jimmy's
yeah.
rustled for no
Yeah,
reason.
exactly. Over just, I think people are just looking for things to pick at.
Yeah, it's every few weeks you hear
Yeah.
it's like, oh, this controversy, this or that. You know, it's getting kind of annoying.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that it's definitely at this point
and the
good
thing is,
to have the diversity that we're having, and even in the new the new Avengers book that's coming out.
right.
Not that any of them are gay, but the fact that you have a Muslim teenager, a
Black,
half
Hispanic.
black, half Hispanic.
Mhm.
You've got
Spider-Man.
Nova, who is Hispanic.
Yep.
An android, a black
Vision,
Captain
yeah,
America,
exactly.
and then who knows what Tony Stark is at this point,
Yeah.
and then a female Thor.
yeah,
There is a lot of diversity going into
Avengers.
it. The Divengers.
But no, the point is that I forget what I was gonna say.
you know, I think it's good that other groups outside of the Avengers are also going to embrace this. I mean, X-Men has always been the book that they have had that has been about that type of
Well, yeah, because
cultural
that's what
backlash,
X-Men was
because
written
that's what-
about.
Teenagers
exactly.
with problems.
X-Men was about civil rights. That's what X-Men, like, really, the X-Men
Well, Malcolm
are
X
black
and-
people.
yeah,
That's
Malcolm
what they
X
are.
and-
Yeah, they couldn't
Okay.
they had to make them basically white
Exactly.
at the time, but they used the idea that they're a mutant to
It's
kind
the
of
same
touch on those
struggles,
issues.
or they tried to use similar struggles and stuff like that.
So I like that. Yeah, I like that the X-Men, especially the originals, which is what that stood for.
Right.
I like that they're now getting a little more diverse as well.
It is cool. But yeah, so again, I understand that the open being open to it, but again, there needs to be that balance, because if not, look, for instance, talking about that cover, the cover that was pulled, which just showed Joker kind of terrorizing Batgirl a little bit, smearing a smile over her face.
Ooh.
It wasn't even DC that pulled that cover. It was the artist. The artist who made the cover requested DC not to print it
That was
because he
such
was
a
afraid of the backlash.
such a
Howard.
good cover.
It was a great
though.
cover.
God, that might be like honestly one of the most like that's stoned in my head.
I know.
mean, like I sketched in my head, stoned in my head. Doesn't make any sense.
That's cool. We understood. But yeah, so again,
I didn't. don't speak for me on
I had
that.
no idea what the hell he was talking about. There we go.
But yeah, so I mean, the point where artists are now afraid. I mean, not Milo Manera and and Cho, because they obviously don't care.
Yeah.
But other artists are actually afraid to put out content now because they're afraid of the backlash. That's ridiculous. Don't get me wrong. If they're putting out, Wonder Woman in a G-string and corset, fine. But they're not. You get me? That's not
Pole
what this
dancing,
Yeah.
Kitty Pride.
exactly. That's not what this cover was at all. It was, first off, a reference to one of the most important comic books in Batman's history, never mind comic book history as a whole.
Right.
That's all it was. It was a reference to that.
We do have a lot of problems right now with like domestic violence and stuff like that. So I mean,
We have a lot of problems right now. We've always
no,
had a lot
of course. No,
But
I meant
it's
like
more
in
to
the
the forefront.
media,
In light.
in
Yes.
the media.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
I can understand why somebody wouldn't want to put that out there, because
this
of just
time.
like violence against women and everything. But
Yeah, but isn't that the problem that we've always had, that we keep putting these things in the background instead of bringing them out to the light and discussing them and
Exactly.
hopefully improving on them?
yeah, we should be discussing them
Mhm.
for sure.
And that's something else too. And this is also what one of my issues was with the cover, is that they made it all about how Joker raped Batgirl and this and the other thing. When really all we saw from that was that he took a bunch of pictures. That's it.
Mhm.
What it was really about was the Joker trying to destroy Commissioner Gordon.
Right. Tormented.
Exactly.
That music means that we are about to go to break.
Yes, it
So,
does.
coming up next, not only we have a little bit to talk about as far as Civil War, maybe
Mhm.
some people that might be included. We also have a short list of actors who might be your next webhead.
Throwing some webs around.
So stay with us. We'll talk about that next.
Web designers.
And there came a day unlike any other, when the world's two most talkative show hosts came together to take on topics that no single show host could handle alone.
The hairs on the back of his neck have never stood up. He once converted a vampire into a vegetarian. Were he to shout at the screen during a horror film, she would never open that door. When the owl asks who, the answer is always him. Ghosts lift their chains off the floor when he's sleeping. It's been said he can't visit cemeteries because of that one time he brought somebody back from the dead. His seances are the talk of the afterlife. He is the most interesting man in the world.
I don't always drink beer, but when I do, I prefer Dos Equis.
Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Stay thirsty, my friends.
I'll have a slippery nipple, said the brain to the barman as he surveyed the beach and contemplated new ways of making an international cretin of himself. Yes, the brain was in Carbo, baby, partaking in bro times and general nincompoopadness with men known only as Brewski and Van Dudenstein. Brain found himself saying shameful things like, Appletinis all round, and I have a Speedo just like that. Rest assured, if Brain had a fist, it would be pumping it. Last one in's a bedwetter, Brain shouted, as it prepared to do a running bomb into the hot tub. Yes, and while Brain is signing up for the World Beach Bat Championships, your body drives unsupervised down an endlessly long road. Lucky for you, Mercedes-Benz Attention Assist is designed to bring brains quickly back from carbo, right to the here and now. Pull my finger, said Brain, as he suddenly returned to the present.
You wanna know how I got these scars? From Batman? From Batman.
Worst Joker ever. Now back to Capes and co-hosts.
And we're back. Yay. As always, you're listening to us at 24/7miami.tv/live as well as YouTube. Thanks for listening. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Capes and Co-hosts.
Are we on Hangouts also right now?
I think we're also, I don't know.
Whatever.
We're everywhere. We never know where we're not.
That's right.
What? Anyway.
Also, join our group, Xavier's League of Extraordinary Avengers Corps Incorporated.
What was that?
That was, a little glimmer sound at the end of
Every time,
Like whenever you do the thumbs up,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it glimmers off the thing.
every time
Oh.
he puts himself over, we'll say ding.
Exactly. Anyway,
So,
Ooh,
in stereo.
So, really quickly, we are going to talk. I know this is not going to make James happy. We're going to talk a little bit about Age of Ultron, and just because of how it leads into Civil War.
I didn't bring my headphones this time. Damn it.
Darn, it's all right. I'm not gonna. I've seen the movie already. We're not going to talk about how, but that's fun.
It was illegal. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, people.
It might have been. No, but it doesn't matter. They're not going to lose money off me. I still have my movie tickets for the marathon. I'm going to see it like 3 more times that weekend. So. Whatever. But without giving any details, I don't want to spoil anything for anyone, especially not James, because he'll kill me.
Yes.
But one of the things about Age of Ultron that I really did enjoy was the fact that you really do get to see more of an idea of who would be on whose side in Civil War, based on just some of the things that happens around the movie. So leading into that, obviously, with Civil War, Elizabeth Olsen has now confirmed what we already knew. She is going to be... Wanda in Civil War. She is going to be, I think she said she starts filming in June when they need the character. Or no, that was Spider-Man. I'm sorry. She starts filming a few weeks after the actual film starts, because it's when her character, I guess, is going to be used. And then also, interestingly enough, Paul Rudd, who plays Scott Lang, is talks with Marvel about more Phase 3 movies to be appearing in outside of Ant-Man.
Yep.
Civil War being obviously the prevailing theory, and a couple of different rumors about who might be on whose side, who might be included, actually came out as well last week that I want to talk about.
Did you mention Daredevil wanted to be in it?
Yeah, Charlie Cox has said that he wants to be in it, but he thinks that he's missed that boat because he hasn't heard anything from them yet. So, and I don't think that they're going to include Daredevil at this point. I actually don't think they're including anyone that's not an Avenger.
Really?
I think that it's going to be, rather than it being the Marvel verse versus the Marvel verse, I think it's more a story about the Avengers versus the Avengers.
I really feel like that's a missed opportunity.
Seems like it's a battle, more or less.
But the problem with it being is, like you have Daredevil, maybe Luke Cage by that time.
Right.
There's not going to be a lot of.
But even then, again, why I feel they're important is because they do represent that street level of, of the Marvel universe that I think needs representation in something like,
Well, I think that's what they're going to use Spider-Man as.
Also, doesn't the
I guess
Tony side have the government behind them? So that would
in
be
the comics they do, yes.
Yeah, so that would be some ammunition.
I mean, I think that it's going to be. I think that the idea of a Superhuman Registration Act is going to be something fun to play with in Daredevil season 2, and maybe Luke Cage and Iron Fist. But I don't think that they're going to be
such
big
a
parts.
retrend of X3.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, my bad.
Actually,
Sorry.
I think the general idea of X3, the story that it pulls from is Astonishing X-Men with Whedon. I'm pretty sure that came out after Civil War.
Did it?
I think.
I don't think so.
Guys, I was just joking.
I don't know. They came out like almost. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
We take things very seriously.
I mean, apparently we do.
Apparently we do.
Anyway, but point is that but yeah. So I don't know, but again, I feel like it's just a missed opportunity.
No, you're right. It did come out before Civil War.
Yeah,
Now that I think
thought
about it. No, but anyway. So I don't think that that's going to be included. I think it's, like I said, it's going to be basically Avengers versus Avengers with some players in the middle. The rumor that came out was basically it's a 4-on-4 type of thing.
Okay.
And it talked about how...
And in this corner.
Essentially. And in this corner, it's Captain America, Hawkeye, Black Widow, and Falcon.
Okay.
Versus Iron Man, War Machine, Vision, and Ant-Man.
So you and I talked about this, and it's very interesting that because in the comics, Vision is anti-registration. He's
Right.
not on Tony Stark's side. But since, I mean, you obviously know the answer to this, but don't respond.
I will
obviously.
not. I won't try not to even make a face.
Since
mic's
it's- yeah, right. Since we have Paul Bettany who does the voice of Jarvis, he's who is Vision in the movie. So we assume that there is some relation to Vision and Jarvis. That's why Vision is actually on the opposite side in this movie,
Okay.
because he kind of has to be. He, he's Tony's digital homeboy.
Right.
Anyway,
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
mean,
I
He
mean,
is, though. He really
yeah.
is.
I know the answer to that more, and it's actually a lot more complicated than that. But I'm not gonna
okay.
bring it up in any way.
But the point is that so that's why.
The point is that's an idea
that's
of
the
why it
flip
might
side.
flip. Yep. The idea that Ant-Man's included in there is really cool. I think
That is cool.
I think that reinforces the idea that I've heard, which is Hank Pym is the one that really is pushing the Registration Act more than anything,
Right.
because the rumor has it that in Ant-Man, Hank Pym hates superheroes. He hates the idea of superheroes. One, because Janet dies doing superhero things with him in the 60s.
You know, that's actually a genius way of going about like getting, because Tony Stark is the antagonist, you could say, of Civil War. And that's a genius way of going about that, is to just skip over Hank Pym altogether and to make him the aggressor douchebag.
Well, no, I think Hank Pym will still be the aggressor in the sense.
That's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying.
Did you
To make
skipped over Hank Pym?
No, well, skip over Hank Pym being Ant-Man, meaning we're not going to see him as Ant-Man
yeah.
at all. You get me?
Yeah, well, I mean, he wasn't Ant-Man at the time of Civil War either, but he was Yellow
Exactly.
Jacket. So,
But that's what I'm saying, is to just skip over his experience as a hero and to just make him this aggressor, douchebag guy that's anti-heroes.
I don't know
think
that I
that's
would say
pretty
skip
cool.
over. I think that having the idea that his experiences in the 60s as a superhero,
Right.
with his wife, and the fact that he lost his wife doing this, and the fact that his daughter kind of maybe aspires to be Wasp, and that his company, from what we know of Ant-Man, that his company's taken over and they're trying to sell superheroes as
You know
weapons.
who takes it over?
Yeah, Darren Cross, the main villain of the Carrie
okay.
Scroll's
That
character,
makes sense.
Corey Scroll's character.
Darren Cross, yeah.
Darren Cross supposedly takes it over, and is selling out the idea of his yellow jacket.
Oh, right. His yellow jacket?
Well, he's the villain Yellow Jacket.
That's right.
And that's why he's more weaponized,
That's
because
right.
he's trying to make it a weapon rather
Yeah.
than the Ant-Man idea. So the idea that he is pushing the Civil War, or not the Civil War, but the Registration Act, because of the idea that, he lost his wife, his company was taken over and used to manufacture weapons like Tony Stark's was.
Right.
All of these different things makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
As far as where he would stand on that. And it also gives Tony more of an idea, because we know that, from an idea that Tony creating Ultron and that backlash is probably going to kind of push him towards that side.
Right.
There's also rumors that Winter Soldier will come out as being the person who assassinated the Stark family.
Right.
And that might push the disagreement over how to handle that, might push Cap and
Right.
Tony apart even more. So that it's setting up nicely.
I'm really looking forward to this, because I think they're taking a very intelligent way of approaching a very complex storyline,
Oh yeah.
and in a way that can be represented decently in a 2-hour movie.
Yeah. It's true.
I'm very excited about it. And then the idea that it's actually more confined. It's a 4 versus 4 type of
Right.
thing. They did mention that in the rumors that I was reading off of, that Wanda is in there somehow, but more of, I guess, a reluctant type of
Wait,
participant.
Isn't she dead?
Wanda?
Yes. Oh, Wanda. Talking about. I'm sorry.
Scarlet Witch.
Yeah. What's Wasp's real name again?
Janet.
Janet.
Janet
thank
Van
you.
Dyne.
Sorry.
She's supposedly not around from
Right.
what we know. She hasn't been cast, and so I doubt that she's around.
Okay.
Hope, maybe we might see Hope maybe join in as Wasp. That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
And they said that the idea is that she would become Wasp, but maybe not an Ant-Man.
Okay.
And then that Wanda and T'Challa
Mhm.
would be kind of the middlemen in a
Right.
sense. And they said something about like the Black Panther having his own agenda in the Civil War. So that's interesting. I think that they're going to play a little bit
So-
more on that idea of him being in the middle.
Right.
And then no one has mentioned Spider-Man, but supposedly the short list that came out mentioned that they want to cast the role within the next 2 weeks, because they
Right.
want to start filming his part of Civil War in June. So we might have set photos as early as June of the new Spidey costume. And the
Garrett,
new
I am
actor,
going to
and
ask
that's
you
gonna
one
love it so
spoiler.
much. Ooh, this
I
is
am.
interesting.
Is there an after credit scene?
An after credit scene
Yes.
is in. There's a
Mid credit scene? Anything like
there
that?
is a true to his word. Joss Whedon has included a mid credit scene.
Okay.
No after credit scene. What I saw.
Okay. And
So-
the Spider-Man after credit
Is
scene is
fake,
obviously
100%
fake.
fake.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah, no. So from what I've seen, there is a, by the way, great after credit scene.
Okay.
Or mid credit scene.
Mid-credit scene.
But nothing after the. I think the only thing that you see after once the credits are done rolling is Avengers will return.
Right.
Which
will return.
everyone
What they
knew
always
that
do.
was doing that. So
Yeah.
no one needs to stay for that. And once you see that mid credit scene,
So they announced sequels
You
for the
can leave.
Avengers.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
All right, good.
They always do that though.
I thought it was on the bubble.
He's joking.
Oh, I see.
He's got a
yeah, I
okay.
mean, obviously. Sorry.
No, it's okay. So yeah, so that's just an interesting idea that they're really containing the idea of Civil War. Containing. They're really containing the idea of Civil War
Or Downton
storyline.
Abbey.
Oh god, they're containing the story of Civil War to
Yes,
the
do
Avengers. Which, and I don't want to give anything away from Age of Ultron again, but there is, there is a big shift that we heard in the rumors of the
Right.
status quo of the Avengers. So it sets up really nicely for Age of Ultron, or not for Civil War, for the Avengers team that will be in Civil War and how they might split. That's a really cool setup as well. So
I'm still really concerned, and we've talked about this in the past too, is because of Joss Whedon's feeling on the whole situation, is how isolated the events of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is from the rest of the MCU. And that concerns me.
Well, see, now the problem here is, from what we know, Joss Whedon doesn't like the idea of bringing back Coulson.
Right.
And so to him,
Right.
they're
Coulson's dead.
separate.
Yeah. Joss Whedon has said that to him, Coulson is dead.
Right.
Coulson never got brought back.
That being said, the Jeff Loeb, the producer for,
Right.
the Kevin Feige of Marvel TV,
yeah.
is obviously not of that mindset. He's
Obviously.
obviously, because we know next episode is going to tie in heavily to Age of Ultron of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And they also supposedly are setting up a Civil War type of idea.
Are they skipping this week?
No, this week
No, no,
they're
no.
They have a
doing.
new episode?
Yeah, they're
But
going
see,
to.
that's the point, is that I'm seeing where Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is talking about the MCU, but how is the MCU talking about Agents of
Well,
S.H.I.E.L.D.?
to be fair, think about what we've seen in the MCU. We've seen Captain America, Iron Man,
Right.
Thor, their own movies where
Right.
they're not going to know that Coulson's around. They're not
Right.
going to be talking about that.
Mhm.
Then we've seen Guardians, no idea who these people are, and then Avengers, which again are.
But I'm saying,
populated
I'm
characters
not talking
that
about
don't know
before. I
this.
mean now, because now it's at a point where I think something has to happen.
And-
at least with
and I'm
S.H.I.E.L.D..
sure it probably could.
All right.
I mean, we have.
I mean, when S.H.I.E.L.D. comes back in the fold, is Coulson not going to be involved? That's the thing.
I think they're already setting that up.
Yeah.
Actually, with the current storyline that S.H.I.E.L.D.'s going on, I think they are setting up an idea that, because, not necessarily that S.H.I.E.L.D. is revived in Age of Ultron, but S.H.I.E.L.D. does have somewhat of a presence there.
Right.
So the idea, obviously with Fury appearing, the
Mhm.
idea is, I think that by the end of that movie, people are going to be asking, so is Fury in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D. now, or is it still the one on the show?
Right.
I think that they're eventually going to. That's, I think, why they have a spin-off series going on. I think that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to evolve to a point where it's going to stop being about Coulson's and his shield and more about the Inhuman storyline going forward to set that up.
You really think they're gonna but what will that mean for Coulson then?
Not
Because
that he won't be involved.
Okay, because
Like, I
Clark
think-
Gregg is a huge part of that show. I mean,
I'm sure he'll
yeah.
be involved still, but the point being is I think that the
Awesome.
the storyline focus is going to start focusing much more on Daisy
right.
and that aspect,
oh, obviously.
and less on. I think that by the end of this season, I think you might have another case of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of not having a direction or director type
Got
of
it.
sense.
Do we have any answers from? I mean, spoiler. I'm sorry. I'm going to ask just one question. Do we have any questions answered in Age of Ultron about S.H.I.E.L.D. at all? Like maybe how if Maria Hill's still involved at all, or
I don't want to hear
the
this
real
answer.
S.H.I.E.L.D. I know.
I don't want to hear this.
Never mind
This is
then.
awful.
Never mind then. But
That's super spoiler.
How is that
Ricky.
super
That
spoilery?
is super spoilery.
Without
Stop it.
it's
I try
not
to be
telling an
vague.
answer.
I was
It's-
just
he
like-
wants to know if there's some
because I don't
resolution.
like this S.H.I.E.L.D. real S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff, and I was hoping it'd be
There's
figure it
no.
out.
I mean,
probably not even mentioned. But I mean, I'm just saying.
there-
Doesn't matter. Let's move on because you can see James is his
I'm
face is like.
seething.
there's an answer to it. I'm not going to tell you what answer it is.
All right, good deal.
And I'm not even going to tell you if it's a definite answer because
All
it's
right.
kind of just a hanging answer.
All right.
And that's all
So,
I'll say about
Spider-Man?
it. So we'll move on. Spider-Man has a short list that
Does
we
have a
know
short
of.
list, which is cool.
So yeah, it's
I'm not saying
getting
the short list itself is cool. I'm just saying it's cool that we have a short list because that shows how close we are to
to seeing
there being a
Spider-Man.
body in that suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So the short list reads off as Nat Wolf
Well, let's go one at a time and talk
Start-
about what
okay.
we've seen them in.
Nat Wolf, which
Okay.
is from Fault in Our
The
Stars.
Fault in Our Stars, which I haven't seen. You saw it, right?
I hear it's a very great movie.
Yeah.
He's seen it for sure.
Okay.
I
No,
haven't seen the
no.
whole
I haven't.
Oh.
I said I hear it's a very
thing.
great
I thought
movie.
you said you think.
Damn.
No, I want to watch it.
So have any of us seen it?
I haven't seen the whole thing.
No.
Okay.
I did whenever I saw the short list.
I hear
did
it's
go and
better than
see
A Walk to
some
Remember.
of his scenes.
Okay.
And I think he's great. I think from what I've seen, obviously I haven't seen
Okay.
enough. Paper Town's coming out. I'm sure we'll see that and we'll have
Yeah,
a better
exactly.
idea at that time. But Nat Wolff, from what I can see, looks like he's kind of weird.
Probably has the
looking in
biggest
sense,
access chop.
but he's got
chops.
from what I can see of the list, he's got the biggest acting chops. I think he would do the best in the role.
And also, I mean, this will also get females kind of involved because Fault of All Stars was a romantic movie and stuff like that. So that will help bringing them into the movie.
And then,
too. I mean, they're not going to need money. Spider-Man's
and not
money,
I mean, I'm probably in the idea that I think Nat Wolff should get the part anyway, but to kind of pull the card, Vincent D'Onofrio did go onto Twitter as soon as the shortlist came out and said Nat Wolff should be Spider-Man.
Really?
Vincent D'Onofrio, the
I
Kingpin
wonder what
himself.
interest
I
Nat
thought he
Wolff
said
has
he
in-
wanted to be Spider-Man.
No,
Vincent D'Onofrio?
he clearly
Who
said
doesn't?
he clearly said Nat Wolff should be our next Spider-Man.
Oh, I read that wrong.
I wonder what his interest is in Nat Wolff.
I don't know. I mean, maybe he saw the movie and he thinks he's awesome. I think that is a big endorsement. So yeah, he's
Very
got
Peter Parker.
he's got some Peter Parker looks,
Oh yeah.
and he did an interview. I think it was with MTV about Paper Town,
right.
and it was actually very Peter Parker like. He was
Mhm.
very jokish, very lighthearted.
Mhm.
I can see him. You know,
Alright.
I don't think he would have to stray from a comfort zone to play the character
Okay.
in a sense.
Well, let's talk about the next guy on the list. And he's actually been in the rumor mill a little longer than everyone else. And
And
that's
he's-
Asa Butterfield.
Yeah, and he's the one that most people are going to know. He was in Hugo, where he really
And-
got his launch of his career,
And
and then in Ender's Game.
Now, the problem I had with Ender's Game aside, he was not the problem I had
Right,
with
he
it.
was
He
great.
actually, I loved him in Ender's
Yes.
Game.
Mm-hmm.
He did I think he was great. And I actually loved Hugo. Hugo was a
Mm-hmm.
super cool movie.
I think he'd be a good choice. I don't know that I like how young he looks.
Yeah, he does look really young,
Yeah.
but I think that might be what they want.
Well, I don't think they want that young.
No?
That's why I think that the rest of the
What does he look
stars,
like now?
Oh?
he still looks like the
Still has a
same.
baby-
Really.
Yeah, he's got,
And
kinda got a baby face.
If you look at the rest of the stars on the list, they all look young, but they all look about 16 or so.
Mhm.
right.
Ace is the only one that really kind of looks like he might be 12 or 13 type of range. So, I mean, I know
Yeah.
that why he's there is going to be based primarily on his acting ability and what
Mm-hmm.
what type of star he could become. I just don't. He looks almost too young. For
Yeah,
me
he
at this
does.
time.
It's true. I mean, you do have a good point. He
Because
does
I do
look
like
really
him as
young.
an actor.
Right.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think between him and Nat Wolff, I think those two are the obvious choices as
strong
far as
choices,
actings
yes.
go. I'd probably pick Nat over Asa just because of the look of it, but
Okay, I mean
Yeah.
that's fair, yeah. But if either one of them got it, I don't think we'll
Yeah.
be disappointed.
I would feel very good about where the acting for Peter Parker would be.
Mhm.
Maybe not the
Mhm.
look necessarily, but I'd be very happy
Right.
with the acting one way or the other.
Exactly.
The other three on the list are
Do you think this
almost completely unknowns.
yeah,
in a
Tom
sense.
Holland. I've never even heard of this kid.
Yeah, he was in The Impossible,
I've never seen that.
which I've never seen either.
Do you guys think this movie is going to focus more on
The
Peter
Spider-Man
actually
movie?
being Spider-Man movie? Sorry, that Peter on focusing on Peter Parker or as Spider-Man?
I think
Because
it's,
like
well,
Iron Man's really focusing on him being Iron Man and less on
Right.
Tony. I would say personally, and Captain America obviously.
Well, the thing about
Thor and
Spider-Man to me, and the reason why he's one of my favorite characters, is because of the dichotomy between those two.
everything. Okay.
It's because of the idea that Spider-Man and Peter Parker are really the same person.
Mhm.
It's more of the fact of, what his life is in the suit and what his life is out of the suit.
yeah, like he doesn't do like the Bruce Wayne. You get me? Like
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne, when he's Bruce Wayne, he goes out of his way. It's like, well, a man in a suit shouldn't be walking around.
Bruce Wayne is Batman.
Right.
For
And
example,
instead of
Spider-Man
the other
doesn't,
way around.
Exactly.
grumble when he talks as Spider-Man.
Right, exactly. No, but the point is, he doesn't make any effort to really separate his personality as the two. You get me?
Which
Like-
is why he wears the full mask. instead
Yeah,
of half
exactly.
mask.
Like for instance, Superman, he acts differently as Clark Kent than he does
Slouches.
as Superman. He slouches
So-
and kind of keeps himself. Peter doesn't do that. Peter just puts on a mask and he just is himself.
So we're gonna get along the same vein as the other Spider-Man trilogy and then the Amazing.
Well, no,
Spider-Man.
because
no,
they-
I'm not talking about like the romantic thing. I'm talking about just like get
a dichotomy
Peter
between the
Parker.
two.
I
Yeah,
think we're going to
exactly.
see more of that, as a matter of fact, which
I
is
actually,
great.
I
Good.
think that we're going to see a little more Peter Parker than Spider-Man,
Really?
from what we've seen. Because one of the things that Marvel's really talked about, Feige's talked about it, as well
Right.
as the rumors for what their plans were,
Right.
should they ever get him back, is that they wanted to play more on the idea of Spider-Man's life being outside of the suit being very difficult.
Yeah.
The idea of him being the man of the
Which
house,
I
him
want
dealing
because
in high
we've never
school.
focused on that before. We've never really focused on the fact that he's a kid
Right.
in a suit.
So yeah, so I think we're going to see more of the kid.
The whole reason Spider-Man has always been very popular is because it's all about teenage angst.
Yeah,
And how
it's true.
hard it is to be a teenager, and then on top of that, try to be a superhero.
Well, but it's not just teenage angst, but because he's dealing with teenage angst, he also deals with a lot of real issues that a lot of other heroes don't seem to deal with, or at least didn't used to. That's obviously changed recently.
Yeah.
But Spidey deals with a lot of real stuff.
Yeah, like Pitbull on picture tape.
Yeah,
Pitbull and picture. Yeah, it's a good point to point out. I'm really excited about this, and Sony is also kind of pulling a rug under here and maybe have another Spider-Man franchise in the works, which we're going to talk about after the break.
Mm-hmm.
Stay with us.
It's not about anything else.
Go to your room and lock the door, cause when you try it once, you want to try it some more. Size doesn't matter, and that's a fact. It might be small, but it's a big impact. Bust a nut, bust a nut. Grab a bag of corn nuts and bust a nut. They're lightly toasted and hard as well. Enjoy yourself, we won't tell. Everybody does it, they like it a lot. You can do it at school, just don't get caught. It takes a few minutes if you don't delay. Take your time, make it last all day. Bust a nut, bust a nut. Grab a bag of corn nuts and bust a nut. They're lightly toasted and hard as well. Enjoy yourself, we won't tell.
Corn nuts, an intensely crunchy corn snack, comes in 7 nut-busting flavors. Bust a nut at a convenience store near you.
If he needs a quick escape, he just walks out the front door. His bear hugs are actually hugs he gives to bears. He's been pronounced dead 7 times. Make that 8. He can't be bought, but his beard clippings occasionally come up at auction. He's never lost a sock. If he disagrees with you, it's because you are wrong. He has never saved anything for a rainy day. He is the most interesting man in the world.
I don't always drink beer, but when I do, I prefer Dos Equis.
Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Stay thirsty, my friends.
Nah, come on. Give me something with a little bass in it. Hey, what's up, guys? This is Roy O from The Roy O Show. Don't forget to tune into my show every Thursday night at 7 p.m. right here on 247miami.tv. Join us for our Walker Talker segment where we cover all things Walking Dead. Lil O got all the sports info for you on Jock Talk. And don't forget, we got our brand new segment, The Roy O Show Theater. Tune in every Thursday night, 7 p.m.
Yes, the curse words of the future, frack and stucco, are used regularly here. Now back to Capes and co-hosts.
No? Okay.
Man, you have such a great voice, Garrett.
I know, it's so amazing, isn't it? I love it so much.
No? Okay. All right. Welcome back. Sorry, I'm going to laugh for a second at that. Oh.
And only you.
And only me. I'm sure someone else will. I just won't know about it.
Nope.
Yep. Somewhere, someone's laughing right now.
You're assuming.
That's all that matters.
At you.
It's a good percentage chance. So Sony's making an animated Spider-Man movie.
Oh, jumping right back into it. Okay.
That we are.
Yep.
Spider-Man segment number 2.
Yeah, hold on. Well, we still have other people to talk about. There's 2 other people on that short list.
Do you know
that
anything
don't
about
matter?
them?
You're right. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So moving on.
One guy's name is Liam.
Yeah.
We only have room
Tom
in Hollywood
Holland
for one Liam.
Tom Holland, Timothy Chalamet, and then Liam James.
Chalamet.
If you know any of these people,
I think that,
we forgive us for not knowing who they
Right.
are and talking about them. We hope that if they're chosen, they're great
well,
actors.
Timothy. Well, I
We don't
mean,
know.
I saw Interstellar, and I know who Timothy Chalamet
Mhm.
is, but I don't care. And then I did not see the way back, so I have no.
Exactly.
I saw Interstellar, but I saw nothing in that portrayal that makes him.
Yeah, that would really
Peter Parker.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, so Sony's making an animated Spider-Man movie produced by Lord and Miller,
But not attached to the MCU.
but
right?
not attached to the MCU.
Okay, so then
Completely
it's fine.
separate.
I don't care.
I don't know that I like it because I don't like the idea of having conflicting Spider-Man portrayals.
I
at the same
agree
time.
to an extent, but it's obvious that even though kids are included, it's obvious that the main demographic of the MCU and superhero movies
Are nerds
really
like us?
isn't kids anymore.
20-year-old
It's-
nerds.
Exactly. It's people like us. Let's be real here.
We were kids when Iron Man came out.
Exactly.
Now we're just nerds.
So I think this is just them. It's Disney or not Disney.
No, it's not Sony.
No, it's not Disney. It's Sony. But it's Sony wanting to just do something for the kids, and Spider-Man is definitely the guy to do that with.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems weird to me because we're gonna have it's one thing if it's an animated Spider-Man movie because DC does animated movies all the
Right.
time but they don't release them in theaters. They're
Right.
not supposed to be a cinematic franchise, which is weird to me.
As long as the animated movies don't do anything that specifically conflict with the main movies, like for instance, if they don't go and change something drastic, then I don't think my only issue would be if the kids get confused. You get me? Because us as adult viewers, we know that the animated movie has nothing to do with the MCU.
Right. We can make the distinction.
Right. I just don't want them to do anything that will confuse the kids. Like if the kids think it's related to the MCU, they can do that. Just don't do anything that conflicts. Do you get what I mean?
Kind of. I don't know that I agree with you, but kind of. I get what you're saying.
Like for instance, let's just say in the Spider-Man movie, the villain is Mysterio, right? Don't make it so that in the main movie, Mysterio dies at the end of the movie, and then in the other movie, he's continues on Mysterioing. Do you get what I mean?
I don't think kids would actually care that much difference. I think that at that
Yeah.
point, because a kid to me, at least what my thought of a kid is 10 and under.
Sure.
Like to me, I think those kids are going to watch the movie and be like, "Oh, he died. Oh, he's back. Okay, more movie for him."
But that's why I don't want them
Instead
to
of it
confuse
being-
that. I guess.
Yeah, I know. That's the reason why the reason I'm really not too
keen on
it in a sense is just because I guess it's a Spider-Man movie that doesn't involve Marvel, so I'm not as confident on it that
But
I
it
would
doesn't
be.
but it doesn't involve Avi Arad, so there's that.
No, it does. He's a producer on it.
Oh, balls.
Exactly. and Tim Rothman.
Oh my god.
Amy Pascal's also producing it, but
yeah, well, that's.
I mean, in the midst of the rest of that producing.
Okay.
Yeah. See.
Yeah. All right. You got me.
I win. Lord and Miller being attached to it's awesome because
That
I
is
do
cool.
enjoy Lord and Miller's comedy. I think that they'll do Spider-Man right.
Sure.
I just don't think that the idea of it not having any Marvel involvement and it.
So this is basically Sony Pictures stomping their foot because Daddy came in and took their toy away.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, it is. And rumor has it that it might involve Spider-Verse.
It's Bender. Well, we're gonna go make our own Spider-Man movie with
with hookers and
blackjack. Actually, screw the Spider-Man movie. But yeah, so that's basically what they're doing. We're gonna go make our own.
Rumor has it that based on the WikiLeaks for the Sony emails,
yes,
that when they were talking about making an animated movie, the comic book issues they were pointing at was the Spider-Verse that was going on at the time that the emails were being exchanged.
No.
So the animated movie might be Spider-Verse related.
No.
So be ready for that to be ruined for you.
Oh no. Well, actually, you know what? Hold on a second.
Yeah, might be a good medium for it.
It could be. I mean, it depends because obviously the main cinematic universe is never going to touch Spider-Verse.
Mhm.
That's too big. I think they've got other
Agreed.
shit going on. I think that it's an opportunity for them to do something huge without needing to cross universes, and I think that might be okay
Mhm.
if they don't fuck it up. Obviously,
I mean, to be honest with you, I'd be totally fine with this movie again if I didn't feel like it's going to conflict.
Right,
And I feel like it
exactly.
was going to conflict with it.
maybe.
And also the whole Rothman and Avi Arad being part of it.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
that is not exciting for me either. So yay. Yeah. Ugh.
I'm
Mhm.
comfortable with it because I'm so used to so many different storylines going on for Spider-Man at the same time.
That's true too.
I mean, it's basically like how Dark Knight Returns and the
Mhm.
current Batman runs were going together.
Right.
They're different. I mean, it's similar, but the thing with that is that DC kind of had the idea that they can keep that together. Same with Marvel. All the time they do
Right.
those things.
Right.
They can say yes or no to certain things. Can't do that with this one
Right.
because it's
Well,
two different.
The fact that there's so many people are involved in both projects, will probably minimize that.
I don't think that I agree with that. I think that what it's going to do is it's going to, especially with Tim Rothman and Avi Arad being part of it, it's going to be an idea that they are going to try and one up the Marvel version,
Right.
which we know Kevin Feige is going to have a heavy hand in.
Mm.
So we know that one's going to be at least quality, I think.
Exactly.
Whereas in this one, I think they're going to be like, oh, we got to make it so much better that they're going to try and pull like a Ghost Rider
Something.
or
Yeah,
something
exactly.
bad in that
Stretch it
sense.
too far.
And again, my specific issue with Avi Arad is that he's the guy that's been behind the helm of Spider-Man since, Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man 1 and all
Right.
that. But he's also was the person, one of the people actively blocking any kind of cooperation between Sony and Marvel.
Mhm.
And he actively said, no, we don't need the Avengers and Spider-Man. We don't need Spider-Man there.
Mhm.
That was him doing that.
Right.
So, it was so much that Sony, not even Sony Pictures, Sony had to come in and say, no, you're done.
Mhm.
We're going to let Marvel come in and help us make this better. But now he's stomping his feet around and making other stuff happen.
Basically, yeah. And I'm just going to credit the fact that Tim Rothman was signed to replace Amy
I'm not going to automatically say that, that's going to be crap, but I am a little worried.
I'm worried. I'm more than a little, but I agree. It might be okay.
It could be. Yeah.
But we'll see what happens, I guess.
All right.
Moving on to much, much better news. Daredevil fans rejoice. It has been renewed for season 2.
Duh.
But the interesting thing to me, and the reason I really want to talk about it, twofold. First things first, Stephen DeKnight is not returning as a showrunner.
Yeah, that's really upsetting.
I don't really think it's upsetting because of who they had to replace him.
They already announced the replacement?
Yeah, they announced it with pull up the names, please.
Oh.
It's the same guys that did episode 7, Stick.
Okay.
Which to me points directly to the fact that this is going to be a hand season.
Right. No, for
because
sure.
that's all that Stick is about.
I think that's
Chase
pretty,
versus Hand.
Pretty guaranteed.
Yeah. Which also to me thinks Daredevil and not Daredevil, Bullseye and Elektra are very good bets now.
Yeah.
Because if it's the people that ran the Stick episode, I'm pretty sure that that means they want to expand on the Black Sky. Apparently, Black Sky was also mentioned in episode 1 somewhere. There's a visual reference to Black Sky around Nobu at one point.
Really?
So that's what Stephen Knight said.
The current writers that are going to be the showrunners are Doug Petrie and Marco Ramirez.
Both of whom have worked with DeKnight before. One of them was on Buffy.
But why is DeKnight stepping down?
DeKnight has previous commitments with some type of movie coming up. So he said that unfortunately he cannot do it. Drew Goddard's still going to be an executive producer.
Right, which is good.
Obviously, Jeff Loeb will still be there.
By the way, Drew Goddard and Stephen DeKnight were both the guys that did Cabin in the Woods.
Okay.
No, Stephen DeKnight did not do anything with Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Drew Goddard did. It was
Drew Goddard and Joss Whedon.
Right.
Stephen DeKnight worked on Buffy and Spartacus.
Right.
And he knew Drew Goddard and Joss Whedon because they worked on Buffy together.
Right.
Which is why. Another thing that I thought was very interesting, I don't know if I mentioned it last week, is that Joss Whedon talking about Drew Goddard writing and directing the Spider-Man movie.
No.
He mentioned, someone asked him in an interview saying, who would you wish you could have, he said, I wish I could have got my hands on Spider-Man to direct. That's why he said, I wish I would have stayed for Avengers 3 in the sense that I could use Spider-Man.
Got it.
And they said, well, your buddy's doing that. And he's like, maybe I'll just have to go and have a dinner with him and talk about how they should handle that. Which supposedly he does all the time with people he knows.
That's pretty great, though. I mean, we knew that Daredevil was going to get renewed, but it's cool that we have a confirmation on it so soon.
Yeah.
And now this is my other question about it, and this one is a question not about Daredevil, but about the rest of the Netflix MCU. Where does this leave Iron Fist and Defenders?
See, I had this discussion with someone, another member of the group of Xavier's League, and that's that those are going to be two different production teams, though. Netflix produces tons of shows at once. You get me?
Yes, but at the same time, this is also Marvel traditionally doesn't like to have that much production at the same time. Traditionally, their productions have always been stacked because Jeff Loeb has to oversee it all.
Right.
So the idea that, and Charlie Cox came out in an interview saying, that Daredevil, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and Defenders might all come out next year.
Right.
Which seems like a huge production for them.
That is massive.
And the idea that Jeff Loeb is going to have hands in all of that, seems a lot.
That's part of the benefit of doing this through Netflix instead of trying to do this through ABC studios like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Peggy Carter, is that Netflix can literally put all of their production resources into this because they don't have to pay for stuff like, networking costs and stuff like that. Do you get me? So Netflix already has this huge set of resources that, that Jeff Loeb can kind of oversee and mastermind.
Yeah, but
they can handle the workload.
Exactly.
I don't know. To me, it seems kind of like the idea of like Kevin Feige doesn't like to have more than 2 movies running at the same time so he can keep his eye on them.
Sure.
I feel like Jeff Loeb, like the idea that all 4 of them might come out next year means that not only is Daredevil about to have to start production immediately, so is Luke Cage, and probably about halfway through those, you're going to have both Iron Fist and Defenders. And it's not just a problem of Jeff Loeb.
Right.
Defenders includes all the actors.
Yeah.
So how could you do Defenders while also doing Iron Fist?
I have a theory about this actually, is that I'm actually fairly certain that it's not going to be separate units for each show, that it's actually going to be one massive production unit, and they're going to be produced basically as one show. That is how I think Netflix is going to do this. It's going to basically be produced as one show and then just split up into the individual.
I don't like that idea.
Why?
Mostly because I think that basically means they all have to be set at very similar locations.
Okay.
I don't think that Defenders is going to deal with Kung Lun at all. So
Okay.
when are you going to fit that into your schedule to do Iron Fist? Yes, you have the idea of Hell's Kitchen, but Luke Cage is very Harlem based.
Yeah.
So that's a separate production set.
Right.
Danny Rand normally isn't. He's more of just like the general New York area or the foreign territories.
Right.
And we don't know what Defenders is going to be based on.
But that's the point, is that you can't have separate units within the production team. But what I'm saying is, while this team is over here filming this episode of whatever's going on in Iron Fist right now, they'll have simultaneously this team, and Kevin Feige will just be involved in all that.
Kevin Feige's not in
not
this.
Kevin Feige. I'm sorry, Jeff Loeb. Just so that when it does come together to do the Defenders episodes, they don't really have to do a shift in production.
It seems like a huge. I mean, that
is a huge undertaking. But
the idea of a 13 episodes, 13-hour show just on its own that's going to be released all at once.
Right.
You're not going to separate that. That's already like carrying a couple plates as a waiter. This feels like you're carrying every plate in the restaurant. So I agree. At what point does it get too tall for them to carry?
But it is ambitious. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's not. But Netflix has proven they can do it.
Yeah.
Because don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Netflix has the highest success rate, but Netflix isn't afraid to throw stuff at the wall to see what sticks. You get me? And I think they've started to figure out what does stick.
But not all of their shows are produced by the same. I mean, they're all Netflix produced,
Right.
but each also have individual, production teams that work. This is all Marvel.
Right.
So Marvel has to put all those resources.
Yes.
So that's a huge undertaking just on Marvel's standpoint.
I agree.
So I don't know how much that's going to really. To me, it feels like they're going to push Iron Fist and Daredevil and Defenders back because of this.
You think?
I mean, I don't see how they couldn't. Like, I might see them sneaking Iron Fist.
Iron Fist is going to be filmed on an actual location?
I think most of it will.
You think?
Like, I mean, what are you going to put him in front of a green screen and pretend it's the Himalayas?
I think Kun Lung is going to be mostly studio work. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, maybe, but I hope they don't. I'd rather see them on location.
The thing is, Kung Lung isn't really supposed to look like any place that actually exists. Like, it's a hidden, world almost.
It is very Asian inspired, though. You could find some Asian places and doctor them up and make it work.
I guess.
Yeah, but it would probably be just easy just
do it on a back lot. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe. I personally would like to see more of on-shot locations, just because I like the idea that, like, Game of Thrones does a lot of.
I mean, they go to Iceland.
They do 4 or 5 different places. They go Croatia, Iceland, Ireland,
right.
And their shots are really, really great, and they're really convincing because they're on location.
Right.
Some of the backlot stuff that they do kind of almost sticks out to them in the movie to me, and mostly stuff like on the wall, like kind of sticks out to me a little bit. We're getting into something completely different, but like when Jon Snow is beyond the wall,
right,
and then when he's at the wall, they almost
seem
seem 2 different places in a sense, even though they're supposed to be the same area. And that's because the wall is done as a backlot, because you can't there's obviously no 100, 200 foot ice wall in the world. So
the sense of realism is where
it kind of, and I mean, to me, I'd rather see most of the stuff that I see that gets shot on location. It to me looks better.
All right, fair enough.
So that's what I would like to see personally. But I don't know. Like, to me, the idea that we're gonna have
this next bullet point really interests me, because I want to know where you heard about that.
We'll get to this.
Yes.
But then one of the things that I really question is next year.
I'm sorry, 200 feet. It is 700 feet.
700 feet.
I knew it was more than 2. I mean, I'm just saying that's a lot.
Even if you could do 200 feet just so that you could film it and then make it look bigger. But
I'm just saying 700 is a lot.
Yeah, about that. But like the idea that you're going to have Luke Cage come out next year and Daredevil come out next year, and then Iron Fist also, like, it seems like a lot of Marvel in one year.
Mind the Defenders gets pushed back, to be honest with you. But I'd be okay with us. I think what we should get next year is Luke Cage, Daredevil, Iron Fist, and then we're getting Jessica Jones.
Jessica Jones is this year.
That's what I mean. I'm saying we're getting Jessica Jones this year.
But so here's another question.
We need to get those out now, and then I think they can put Defenders back.
But here's another question I have: what if season 1 of Jessica Jones and Luke Cage and Iron Fist are just as successful?
Okay.
Their season 2s are going to come.
Sure.
So are they going to keep pushing things back?
No,
That's what I'm questioning here.
No, look, the only reason we're getting a season 2 of Daredevil right away is because Daredevil was the
launching period.
Yeah, exactly. He's the launching pad off of this.
But because of how critically successful it was
Sure.
and how successful for Netflix in general, what if Jessica Jones, like I'm saying, in December, what if Jessica Jones comes out, is the exact same, and they're like, we want another Jessica Jones?
So that's the point. With simple math, we can deduce that if Daredevil's successful, Jessica Jones is successful, Luke Cage is successful, and Iron Fist is successful, then putting all of them together will also be successful.
But that's not my point. My point is that Netflix is very quick to renew shows. So if they renew Jessica Jones a week after it comes out in December, and they want another December release, they're going to keep doing that, and that's what I'm afraid.
I don't think they'll push back Defenders.
Do you think a full season of Defenders might be a little much, though?
It's only 8 episodes.
Yeah.
It's a miniseries.
Oh, okay. All right, good deal. I was going to say, I thought 13 would be way too much.
It's them handling one pretty contained story arc.
Fantastic. All right, good deal. All right, I didn't hear the
more of a
8
crossover.
episodes.
Yeah, kind of. It's like a huge
Yeah,
crossover event.
so it's not that big of a load, actually. I mean,
No.
when you take out.
But now
that
here's
and everything,
another
and you don't need
question.
all the actors all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And here's another question, and this also works into where it's going to appear.
42.
What?
Don't worry about it. Go ahead.
Oh, God. Though there is a rumor out that Doctor Strange is going to be introduced in Iron Fist.
Which is weird, but cool.
Yeah.
Now, here's a question.
Yes.
If Doctor Strange is actually going to be introduced in Iron Fist, the reasoning behind the rumor is the fact that you've never seen him before. He's very mystical. He's different. Kung Lao is very mystical as well as Kung Lun, is very mystical as well as the idea of Iron Fist.
And it would be easy to just introduce all the mysticism at once.
Exactly. So if that's the case and he's introduced in Iron Fist, that means Iron Fist has to come out before November of next year.
Oh, that's true.
So then where is this timeline going? Because again, I'm talking about too much going on.
I mean,
at
dude,
once.
we're only halfway through this year.
Yes,
So I'm
but
saying
I
it
mean,
could
none of the
be as
production
early
has
as
started
January.
on. But none of the production has started on Luke Cage, which
Right.
comes out first.
Yeah.
None of this production has started on Daredevil season 2 yet. Plus Iron Fist, and that one's going to be after those two. So that
Is it?
production, from what we know, the only one that doesn't have anything done with it is Iron Fist. No actors are attached. No showrunners are attached. Nothing.
Really?
So they have to do a lot of work for that.
Yeah.
So they would have to. I think they'd have to put Luke Cage on the back burner or Daredevil season 2 on a back burner for that. And I don't know that they would do that.
We'll see.
So I don't know. I don't know about the Doctor Strange appearance. I think that if you're going to pick a movie, a cinematic Marvel character to put into your shows, Doctor Strange probably fits the best, mostly because Benedict Cumberbatch is not. He's shown that he's down for TV. He does
body snatch Cumberbund,
something like that. He does.
I do think I think there's a gray area though now between TV and movies.
There really is.
Yeah.
Netflix.
It's not like it used to be
Netflix,
15, 20 years
between
ago.
Netflix, yes, but like ABC productions. Not a lot of big name actors are going to go on
Right.
an ABC produced show.
Well, no doubt.
But so you're never going to see Robert Downey Jr. or Scarlett Johansson go on to Agents of
Right.
S.H.I.E.L.D. But
You
the
will see
idea
Kevin
that-
Spacey do House of Cards though.
But
that's what I'm saying. I mean, so it's
But the idea that, yeah, like that Benedict Cumberbatch would actually go to a Netflix produced show, which is very similar to how they do the BBC productions
Right.
for Sherlock, it's not out of the realm of possibility. So I think
Yeah.
it makes sense. I just don't know, again, how do you fit all of this in your timetable?
Mhm.
And that's what I am concerned, not really concerned, but that's what I'm questioning is exactly how they plan on doing all of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But I mean, look, I have faith in the people involved so far.
Yeah,
really
I mean, from what I know, they haven't let us down yet. So.
No. Jeff Loeb, I think, is handling things pretty well, and Peggy Carter was a great success.
You also have to remember that Jeff Loeb is not only doing all of these shows, he also is producing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 3,
Yes.
which will be starting soon.
Yes.
And if they do a second Peggy Carter
Right.
and the spin-off show,
I thought that we had a confirmed that they were extending.
they said
Peggy
it was like
Carter.
75%
Oh, really?
confirmed. Not sure yet. But then also the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. spin-off show, which we're
Right.
expecting next year, and the John Ridley one. That's
Oh, right.
4 shows on ABC plus 5 shows on Netflix. That's a lot for Loeb to look over.
But again, we really need to think about how much involvement he's really going to have in everything, or if there's certain things he's going to take a higher priority on.
Yeah, I think Netflix would take a high for it.
Probably.
But that's so we're going to go to break real quick. When we come back, Marvel has announced that they are going to be making video games again with a very famous gaming company.
Yep.
We'll tell you who after the break.
Nah, come on. Give me something with a little bass in it. Hey, what's up, guys? This is Roy O from The Roy O Show. Don't forget to tune into my show every Thursday night at 7 p.m. right here on 247miami.tv. Join us for our Walker Talker segment where we cover all things Walking Dead. Lil O got all the sports info for you on Jock Talk. And don't forget, we got our brand new segment, The Roy O Show Theater. Tune in every Thursday night, 7 p.m.
How are you?
Hey guys, you're listening to That's So Miami with Nikki on It's Dirty Laundry, where I'll be telling you all the latest Miami news, upcoming events in South Florida, and everyone's favorite part, our drink of the week. Trust me, you're always bound to have a good time with us, irregardless of what you're into.
Irregardless is not a word.
This is It's Dirty Laundry.
It's been said that he
only on
buried a time
24/7
capsule
Miami.
full of things that haven't happened yet. If he needs a quick escape, he just walks out the front door. His bear hugs are actually hugs he gives to bears. He's been pronounced dead 7 times. Make that 8. He can't be bought, but his beard clippings occasionally come up at auction. He's never lost a sock. If he disagrees with you, it's because you are wrong. He has never saved anything for a rainy day. He is the most interesting man in the world.
I don't always drink beer, but when I do, I prefer Dos Equis.
Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Stay thirsty, my friend.
Now here to give everybody what they want, it's Capes and co-hosts. Right, Jonah?
Anybody care about what I want? I do. Shut up. Get out.
Now back to Capes and co-hosts.
Hell yeah. And that's how you know we're back.
Mhm.
When Garrett starts making crazy things into the microphone.
Making crazy things into the microphone.
Crazy sounding things. He makes babies in the mic. Just like, baby
What?
comes out. I don't know.
Anyway, so we're back.
Oh, I love awkward transitions.
Yeah.
They are the greatest.
Are you going to tell people where they're listening to us or just no?
They know if they're listening to it. I'm just kidding. Thank you for listening on 247miami.tv/live, as well as live stream on YouTube. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Capes and Coast.
I just need that to segue into plugging the group again so I can talk about Xavier's League of Extraordinary Avengers Corps Inc.
The best page on the net.
Oh, man. Join our group, folks. Get involved in the conversation.
Talk about it on the page.
That's right. Adrian's going to hate
I know, and I love it.
Uh-huh.
Oh, so Marvel is finally making more games.
Marvel.
Marvel's making more games, and this time it's with Telltale Games.
We literally have not mentioned DC once yet.
To be fair, DC doesn't have a lot going on.
True, they really don't.
Once we get closer to the release of their movies and
Yeah.
their DC universe takes off, it will be a more even show.
This is true.
So calm yourselves.
Yes. So Marvel's teaming up with Telltale Games.
So excited.
So this is a really quick opportunity for me to segue into one of my favorite video games recently. Because one of the Telltale Games credit is The Wolf Among Us, which is based on DC's Vertigo comic Fairy Tale.
Mhm.
Or no, yeah, it's Fairy Tale, right?
It's is it Fairy Tale? It's not
No,
Fairy Tale.
it's not Fairy Tales. It's Fables. I'm sorry, Fables.
Fables.
Yeah, Fables. The Wolf Among Us was awesome. They also produced the Walking Dead video games,
And as well as
and
Borderlands
Game of Thrones,
and
and
Game of
Borderlands. What's the Borderlands called?
Tales from Borderlands.
Tales from Pandora.
No, it's Tales from the Borderlands.
This is Tales from Borderlands. Okay.
Yeah.
Point is, and they all pretty much have the same format, where
Yeah.
it's more like an interactive movie
Or
than
comic
a
book in a sense,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly, than a video game. Whereas you're not sitting there shooting stuff. It's more like you kind of guide your
action- yeah.
character through dialogue
through dialogue decisions, and
some
there's
actions
also
and some quick time fighting and stuff like that. And
Correct.
that actually largely changes the way the story progresses and what happens in the story.
so that interests me in the sense that Marvel, which arguably is probably the first one that they've really tackled that's
Right.
mostly action
Yeah.
related rather than story.
Exactly.
I mean, Borderlands, I guess, kind of would be more
yeah,
actiony
Borderlands is a
game.
solid
So,
actiony game.
but at the same time, I mean, with Fables and with
Right.
Game of Thrones and with
Walking Dead.
Walking Dead, it's all about the plots and really
Right.
about those shows. And so it's really interesting to me that you're going to have a Marvel Telltale game because it's like how much action are we going to see? Is it because more? I mean, it's superheroes. It's about them going and fighting bad guys.
Do we know that? Do we know who's what characters?
We don't
they're
know what
looking at?
characters, but I mean, Marvel as a whole.
It could be a Daredevil court case.
I would
Murdock.
actually love to play a game as Murdoch.
A Daredevil Telltale game would be actually pretty great.
So yeah, I think that they'll probably try and focus on something that's not necessarily as prevalent.
Like for instance, I don't think it'll be an Iron Man game.
No,
You get me?
I don't think it'll be an Avengers one.
I don't think so.
I think that we're more likely to see maybe like a Camilla Khan or like a property that is popular in the comic books but doesn't see a lot of love outside of them.
Exactly.
So I'm thinking that's possible. I can't wait to see what it is going to be.
Yeah.
I'd love to see a Runaways game.
That would be cool.
A Telltale Runaways game would be awesome.
So far, Telltale Games has given me every reason to be excited about any title they release.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because even like I think the weakest of their titles was probably the Game of Thrones one.
I like the Game of Thrones one. That's one of my favorites.
Good. Really?
That's one of my favorites.
I've heard a lot of things about
the
that
other
one.
ones. I mean, really, over the other games?
I liked it more than Borderlands.
Okay, that's fair.
I liked it probably just as much as I enjoyed the Walking Dead one.
Wow, really?
Wolf Among Us is probably my favorite one.
Okay, yeah, mine too.
But I think that I enjoy Game of Thrones just as much, if not more, than Walking Dead.
That was my Big B Wolf impression. I'm sorry.
Nice try.
Anyway, the point is, yeah, okay, fair enough. But the point, again, they've given us every reason to have faith. in them.
And while I don't know anything about Marvel, the fact that I've seen Marvel and Telltale games in the same thing has already made it my favorite game. So,
Wait, did you say you don't know anything about Marvel?
no, I mean, sorry, about the Marvel game. that they're making.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know a thing about Marvel, people.
Got it.
Not a single one.
But yeah, so that is a match made in sounds like storytelling heaven
In a
to me.
comic book.
Yep,
Match made in comic book heaven.
it's true.
So yeah, so that's
the
going to
case,
be really
then Spawn's
interesting.
gonna
I
show
can't
up and
wait.
mess it up anyway.
What?
No, so if that's the case, then Spawn's going to show up and mess it all up.
Deadpool will
anyway.
do it. Deadpool
Yes.
will be like, he'll come into
There
the
you
game and be like, pause, rip the comic book in half.
Anyway,
I really hope it's presented like a comic book.
I mean, probably. Why not?
That'd be really cool.
They kind of already do that a little bit with the Wolf Among Us
Because
it's much more
yeah.
comic booky than like Walking Dead, for instance.
I personally enjoy that format a lot more than that first-person shooter and all that.
Well,
It
yeah.
gets boring after a while. Well, this always evolving and changing.
That's true. That's true. It's kind of like, you know what it reminds me of? Did you ever read like any choose your own adventure books?
Oh yeah,
That's
absolutely.
exactly what
It's
this
exactly
is.
that's what it is. They decided
It's
they
the
wanted
digital
to make,
version of a choose your own adventure book.
exactly. Yep.
Reminds me of Goosebumps.
So while we're on the topic of more Marvel stuff, and also the Camilla Khan aspect that I thought might be really good for the movie, or not for the movie, but for the game, the rumor has it that the what's his name? I always want to say Ridley Scott, and I'm like, no, that's not right. That's the other guy. Is it James Ridley? The 12 Years a Slave.
That is, I think that's James Ridley.
I think it is James
Look it up.
Ridley.
But anyway,
we'll find out. Anyway, but he is obviously, we know that he's now working with Marvel to make a TV show for ABC. And the rumor has it that
John Ridley.
John Ridley. That's, I knew it was a J. John Ridley is working with Marvel to make an ABC produced, because ABC really likes him. They're canceling American Crime, which is what he's doing currently, but they still like him as a showrunner, so they're going to keep him on and put him on an ABC Marvel project.
Right.
And rumor has it that he is asked to be put on Miss Marvel with Camilla Khan, who might be
because
getting a
we're
TV
getting
show.
introduced to Carol Danvers as Captain Marvel. She's not going to be Miss Marvel at all.
All right.
She is Captain Marvel.
Correct.
So then that leaves the room for Miss Marvel to be the current Miss Marvel, who is of Arabic descent,
a woman,
and has a completely different power set than what we're used to. She's got like stretchy limbs, and
she's basically Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah,
so this is confirmed.
Not
No.
confirmed yet.
This
It's
is
still just a rumor.
Yeah.
The rumor states that Ridley was offered Cloak and Dagger,
right?
Because they've been trying to get that project off the ground, but he said that he'd prefer to work.
Which I really wish they would, because I love Cloak and Dagger. It's such a cool duo, especially Cloak. Cloak's power set is really cool, and I think that would look really cool on screen. You know,
I just want a Runaways one. That's all I want. I want Runaways to be a TV show, and
I think we need to start like a counter to see how many times Garrett mentioned
the Runaways. It's at least once every other segment. But no, I mean, I think that Runaways would be amazing.
It
as a
would be
show.
cool. It would be.
And I can't decide if I'd rather have it as an ABC show where it's weekly, or if I'd rather have it all at once like Netflix. I'm still deciding on that.
Yes.
I think all at once probably. But,
Yeah, I think I would like it all at once.
But anyway,
To be honest with you, I want everything to be like a Netflix show.
that is true.
Yep.
See,
So yeah,
Daredevil was the first time I heard, seeing the show that presented in that form. And I loved it, except at the end, I said, "Oh, I'm gonna have to wait forever now."
Yeah,
That's true. That is true.
Yeah, that is the truth.
The curse of binge watching.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I've seen it. I'm working on my 6th playthrough now. So
Oh my gosh.
There are so many other things you can be watching.
there is, but none of them are as
You watch
good.
The
None of them
Wire,
are Daredevil.
They are. There are things better, but
I wouldn't say better, but I mean, but does The Wire have Daredevil?
yes.
No, it does
They got
not.
Stringer Bell.
Then no.
They got Stringer Bell, and you got Omar, and then you got. There's a lot of other shows, but 6 times, that's a lot, man. You're a
That
fan.
is a lot.
I'm not a fan.
man.
I'm a fanatic.
Yeah.
Because people use the word fan too loosely.
There you go.
He has
Anyways.
an altar.
I might. But we're talking about the ABC Marvel shows right now. So not only do we have the Ridley produced show that's coming up that might be Miss Marvel. I don't know how that'll work before Captain Marvel with that idea, which would be weird. But they also have a spinoff of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Last time on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Which now we have confirmation will supposedly everything but official confirmation that it's going to focus on Bobby Morse and Hunter.
Yes.
So it will
Which
be
is awesome
Hunter and
because
Mockingbird.
can I just say I love Hunter.
Yeah.
He is one of my favorite things to come out of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He's
I
so
agree.
great.
I agree.
He is good.
I think
even if he is just a replacement Hawkeye, I don't care. He's awesome.
I think the only thing I would have liked more is this is totally would never work as a TV show because of the way the characters are at. I would have loved to see Bobby and Grant Ward because I like Grant Ward as a character. I think he's my favorite character on that show.
Yeah,
but it wouldn't work as them
no.
carrying the show together. I still want to. I just how great would a show between basically think of it this way: Spy versus Spy,
right?
Mockingbird versus Taskmaster.
Right.
There you go.
Right, I get it.
Mockingbird looks so good.
By the way, for those of you listening that are confused, Garrett
I
and
am
me
I am
have it.
100% convinced.
Yes, exactly.
That
We,
Grant Ward.
the theory being that Grant Ward is actually going to turn out to be Taskmaster,
Which
and
was-
the latest episode kind of heavily pushes towards that.
completely reinforces that idea when he's for those that don't know, spoiler alert, talking about the last episode,
Spoiler alert, we're gonna get right into it.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. this past episode had a sit down meeting between Coulson and Ward.
Yep.
They talked about making a deal and that Ward would be allowed to walk away scot free, everything cleared from his record. All he has to do is help Coulson get to Strucker and go through the Tahiti Project.
Yeah.
The Tahiti Project, as we know, wipes away memories. He basically gets to rewrite the memories as he wants it.
Right.
And it's very reminiscent of the idea of Taskmaster, who was a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent who took a serum that wiped his memory, his
Right.
long-term memory away, gave him short-term memory. And gave
So,
him his
do you
powers.
think that instead of maybe taking a serum, maybe something will happen in the rewrite process? That maybe it'll be like an accident.
Maybe, or maybe it's an idea of Ward not liking the idea of the TD Project as a whole and messing
Well, no,
with it.
I'm talking about like what would result in him getting Taskmaster abilities.
That's what I'm trying to get.
Oh,
like,
okay. I'm sorry.
So the idea that maybe like what we've seen basically from Tahiti was Agent Coulson got his mind completely rewritten after he's brought back to life.
Right.
Sky, on the other hand,
Well,
she
they didn't
was-
get complete. He didn't get completely rewritten.
I
They
mean,
just kind of He
completely.
did just kind of erase
of those
that
parts.
portion. Yeah.
So, but of Sky's,
Well, she didn't go
Sky-
through the Tahiti Project.
She did not, but she took the drug. She had the drug directly injected into her rather than
Sure.
going through the full project.
Right.
So I think that drug,
The Cree serum.
that's
bullshit.
Cree
What's
serum,
it called again?
GH3,
yeah,
something like
yeah.
that. I think that there's an idea here that maybe Ward tampers with something, maybe because he doesn't like the idea of his mind being rewritten.
See, but the serum itself didn't give anybody powers. It didn't give Coulson powers.
No, it didn't. But I'm not saying that it's going to
Right.
be that same drug.
Right.
I'm saying that
Okay.
you could have multiple different avenues where you take that drug, maybe he messes with it, maybe it gets messed with somehow,
Okay.
and he uses it rather than just, or maybe they do go through the TD Project and he erases everything that's bad. And
See,
there's an
my
accident in the
thinking
middle
is
of
that
it.
maybe since it's such a huge amount of him that they're erasing, that maybe something will go wrong, and while he'll lose the ability to retain information about himself and his life,
Mhm.
that might be what gives him the ability to auto capture, other people, and because he already has the physical.
he has the
ability.
physical ability. at this
He's
point.
physically able himself. It's just the ability to capture other people's power, moveset, I think that's what maybe an error will lead to him.
That also works too.
Do they even still
like
have
them
the serum?
crossing the wires.
Do they even
That
still
even-
have the serum though? Because then they blow up the base that it was all at.
It's
And
shield.
But
There's always
they've
another
been-
vial somewhere.
They've been talking about how they've been like working on Sky's blood to see about the
Yeah.
serum. Like they know what the serum was. At this point, I think that they could probably make it again.
All right.
if they
There are a
wanted.
lot of different directions they can get there.
Yeah.
Right? And I would like to see any of them happen because he'd be perfect for that. And
Yeah, oh,
Ward as a character has been one of my favorites because he has taken me through the gambit. I have loved this guy. I've hated this guy.
Uh-huh.
I have despised him and,
Yep.
and loved him. And I mean,
That's true.
right? So I would love to see him as a Taskmaster.
Oh yeah.
And we know he's good enough to be Taskmaster. Like
Yeah.
you, like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
said
yeah.
from the skill point. I
Well,
mean,
again,
even to the point
they
that
made the comment that he
Why
was
did
the
you
first
bring-
one to beat Romanov's score.
not
or
Peter scored.
no,
He
to
scored the
match
best
it since Romanov. Yeah, yeah.
But and not even just that, but the idea that when he sat down with Coulson, he's like, "I'm honored you had to bring the robot with you."
Yeah.
And he's like, "We know you're that good."
Right,
Like
it's
so.
true.
I mean, it's.
Mhm.
I would really.
Which,
love
by
to
the way, I
see
know
it.
this is 2 episodes ago, but Deathlock's return to the just when he showed back up, I thought it was really awesome. Just
Yeah.
that moment of this
I like
is my
that he looks
backup.
better.
He does look better. Just in general, he looks way cooler.
And one other thing I want to talk about, just with the episode that we just saw,
No. Okay, go ahead.
awesome, was is Grant Ward just like a delusional like psychopath, or is he an
Yes.
asshole?
No,
Because
he's a sociopath.
because when
Yes
he sits
to both.
But here's this is where I'm asking this question. Let me finish, damn it. When he sits down in the Quinjet and he just looks at Fitz and says, "So it looks like you're doing better." Like
Right.
he's either a great asshole or he doesn't think that that's gonna do anything. He thinks he's trying to be nice.
Right.
He's a sociopath.
Like
Yes.
that's just
Yeah.
oh man.
I mean, Ward, it seems to me the character is like he has spent his whole life lying to himself.
Yeah. Exactly. No, he's obviously
so-
a fractured individual.
Mhm.
Like he really
it's
is.
so fun to watch.
Oh no, he's great. He's great.
Oh, anyway. So so we have the team up show, Mockingbird and Hunter.
Yes, which will be
Um,
super cool.
I really am excited to see what happens to Agents of Shield after that,
Mm-hmm.
because basically we know that Agents of Shield is going to kind of lead to that split that's
Right.
going to give a team up between those two.
Yeah.
I really do think that by the start of season 3, that we're not going to have a Shield focused Agents of Shield show, and then it's going to be more Inhumans focused. Like I think the shift is going to be rather Coulson and his team and going towards more of Daisy and her
Right.
evolution, which is
Possible.
interesting to me. Agents of Shield with very little Shield in it, maybe
What they're doing with Reyna is very interesting. Also.
the precognitive thing.
Yeah.
I really like the idea that she, wanted to have that experience of meeting someone who was precognitive,
Yep.
and that they didn't exist, and now she
And
is
now
that
she
person.
is that person,
Like
yeah.
that is really cool little payoff.
It
for
has
her
a
as
very
well.
self-fulfilling prophecy to it, which is awesome.
For sure.
Do we have enough time to talk about this next point? I don't think so.
We got about 4 minutes left.
Yeah, it's enough time. Let's talk about how much I hate this.
Okay, so we're
So,
talking about
they
the
revealed,
Joker.
Yes, they revealed the first official image of Jared Leto as the Joker, which literally up until I saw that image, I was super excited about because I love Jared Leto.
It took an hour and 30 minutes almost to have a DC mention.
It's true.
Yep,
Wow.
Blame DC.
But for those of you who don't know, they released the image, and in the image, Jared Leto has like metal in his teeth. He's got tattoos all over his body, including damaged over his forehead.
I thought it was Disturbed.
No, it's damaged.
Oh,
Damaged over his forehead. He's got ha 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 tattooed on his arm. He's got a smile tattooed
it's
on the
also
other.
ha, 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 all over
Yeah,
his chest,
taha on
too.
his chest. It seems like this is just, I don't know, like thug Joker. Like it doesn't look like the Joker to me at all. This is the same problem I had with Heath Ledger's Joker.
Kind of like Edward Furlong Joker.
Exactly. This is the same problem I had with Heath Ledger's Joker, where I feel like his outward appearance is too much that you're not going to really get to appreciate the inner psycho.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they're pushing it too far out there. And the Joker that I've read in the comics would never put a damaged tattoo on his forehead.
No.
That just seems ridiculous to me.
Or any tattoo. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is another case where they're reinventing the character.
Yeah.
And the thing
not
about
for
the Joker was not his makeup and the huge smile and like that. It was the twisted individual inside
Exactly.
that made him such an interesting character and foe.
Yeah, exactly. Don't get me wrong. Again, I'm not writing it off completely. But just from what that picture showed us, they're definitely just going with the "I'm crazy" Joker, as opposed to you just being afraid of what's inside.
The nuance.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm, and just that in combination, because Jared Leto was really the thing that was keeping me excited about Suicide Squad. Now I'm back down to tentative because of everything else we've heard about.
Let me just say, from seeing this, I'm relieved.
What are you relieved about?
I am relieved that Jack Nicholson is still going to be the best Joker.
Yeah. No, he's not. Cesar Romero is the best Joker.
We'll
get the Batman.
I'm torn.
Yeah. No, it's true. Because again, and even then, Jack Nicholson, I don't think necessarily was a perfect Joker.
Oh no.
But he captured the important parts of Joker.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Love that Joker.
Mhm.
I mean, it really did capture what made Joker awesome, which was the grandioseness, the show, look at all this happiness that I'm jamming
all
evil
about
into.
the joke.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. We are here for his entertainment, not for his torment. We're not here for him to torture us. It's just he does it because it entertains him.
It's not gratuitous violence. It's the punchline.
Exactly.
Are they going to be the protagonist in this, or the antagonist, or what's going on?
Joker won't be the Suicide Squad. They'll be the protagonist.
Right.
Joker supposedly is a supporting character.
Mhm.
That
Probably
is-
going to be locked up in.
supposed to be locked up in Bel Rev basically the whole time. So, all right, we're going to go to break. When we come back, we have got a little more DC to talk about. Frank Miller has announced something interesting that pertains to The Dark Knight Returns.
Yep.
So we'll talk about that in a minute. Stay with us.
Nah, come on. Give me something with a little bass in it. Hey, what's up, guys? This is Roy O from The Roy O Show. Don't forget to tune into my show every Thursday night at 7 p.m. right here on 247miami.tv. Join us for our Walker Talker segment where we cover all things Walking Dead. Lil O got all the sports info for you on Jock Talk. And don't forget, we got our brand new segment, The Roy O Show Theater. Tune in every Thursday night, 7 p.m.
Hello, how are you?
How are you?
Hey guys, you're listening to That's So Miami with Nikki on It's Dirty Laundry, where I'll be telling you all the latest Miami news, upcoming events in South Florida, and everyone's favorite part, our drink of the week. Trust me, you're always bound to have a good time with us, irregardless of what you're into.
Irregardless is not a word.
This is It's Dirty Laundry, only on 247miami.tv.